And I'm live. Durable dads, brothers from other mothers, and sisters from different misters. Welcome to another Durable Dads broadcast. This is live from the Firepit. You'll notice I have this fancy green screen, which is supposed to be all keyed up with the fancy new Durable Dads logo. But that was a no-go. I had it all set up in a broadcasting OBS. And you know what? It went and crashed. Nothing was working. It didn't connect the live stream. So I'm sorry, you don't have anything fancy to look at. It is what it is. This is what was going to be a pretty relaxed live stream anyway, more of a check-in. So unless you're really distracted by the bright green and the lack of eye candy, because it sure ain't me, I'm sorry about that. I promised to have it ironed out. I thought I had it all figured out, but it didn't quite happen. And then OBS just dropped off the map. So here I am using trusty old YouTube itself. So you know what? Let's dive right into this. So, Tamara, hello. I'm just checking in. What's up? What's up? We just started. And my green screen and my chroma key isn't working. That's really unfortunate. I was hoping to drop something super fancy with all the different changes that are going on around here. And this was all an update as to what's going on. So stick with us. But if you're busy, you know what? Feel free to watch the rest of this later and I'll explain all. It will be revealed in time. Okay. Twisted Sunrise. Can't wait for the live stream. Well, wait no longer. Although, this is hilarious. Yeah, this has been a long series of studio upgrades. Just as an aside, I know this isn't necessarily full-on content, but a lot of different stuff has been happening here in terms of equipment. I've been playing around with keying images and green screens, which has been a ton of fun. This has been my first out-and-out failure, but that was lack of preparation and not really knowing the software. So I think given more time, I caught something, and then I went to go and fix it, crashed the whole thing. So you live with this for now, but you know what? Actually, since we're here, and this is the hot topic of the moment, the green screen, what I had keyed up for you was the new logo. If you guys haven't checked it out, please do. It's pretty cool. Explores a lot more of the elements. What's the drink? I wish it was something fancy in the wild, but it is chai apple tea. So it is that time of night. Okay. So how about this idea? So since I already have a couple images, and once I get this figured out, I can change this at will. So it could be just my logo, or it could be a select scene from one of the cool places I plan on visiting this summer. It could be really like anything that you want. You guys could feel free to comment and let me know what you'd like to see in a green screen, because I know it's not this. Anyways, I've talked about my mistake long enough, and I think I wallowed in it. Let's move on to some content, shall we? Okay. So the style of tonight's is more of a catch-up, right? It's the virtual fire pit. Oh, that's a good one. I don't know if it can have something on a loop, a graphic on a loop, but we could do a little fire pit action back there. So that's a cool idea. Yeah, it's just meant to be friendly. So if you're catching this live or on the replay, you know, welcome to this no pressure kind of stream. I got no gear to sell, no countdown to a product launch. It's just a quiet chat to bring you up to speed. It's been lots in the works, and it hasn't been just my studio upgrades, but things have been happening pretty fast, so it would take a while for me to catch up. It has been a minute since my last live stream, so I'm thinking it's a month, but it's been a heavy month, and there's been a lot of content rolling out, and I haven't really necessarily taken the time to solidify everything, and really my gear acquiring and my trips and everything, my collabs and everything else that's setting up. I haven't had time to really catch up to all of it. So this is going to be a process of ironing it out over the next couple of months. So bear with us. I will get to more lives. Thanks for commenting, you guys. So it's real talk and warm drinks, maybe some behind the scenes updates. And you know what? I mean, I'm not really a tea granny. I'm a die-hard coffee guy. Coffee is inappropriate for 7 o'clock at night. I do like to sleep. That's necessary. So I am way past the time in my life where I could have a cup of coffee at 7 and still fall asleep. Now I'd be probably up till 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so this little section of the chai tea, yeah, no, it's good. Trust me. So I've kind of had a little bit of a recent overwhelm. I've been meaning to work on my my studio, which has come along crazily. I've also really planning on getting out there and following a line of being more durable dad, more outdoor, more gear reviews, more focused around getting out in the simple act of, you know, grabbing your kids, grabbing your gear, and taking off for a day, an overnight, or a weekend camping kind of gig, right? It could be camping, a road trip, whatever. I plan on doing both. 'Tis the season, and that's been something that I've been really missing in my life. I used to be quite, or at least a lot more outdoorsy, so to speak, and that hasn't been something that's been present in my life for a while, and I really miss it. And I think just to counteract all the stress and all the changes in my life, and to just really get out there and do the simple things that really make memories with my kiddo, and just enjoy some peace and time and away out of my man cave, my studio, out in nature. It's something that I need for my soul, and it's also something that's really low cost and super accessible to busy parents, to busy dads. Okay, if you like to fish, hunt, get outdoors, hike, camp, then you know what? Where I'm at here in Kamloops or anywhere interior BC or Canada, really, anywhere where you are, if you've got nature close by, this is something that you can, there's some basic tools, some basic stuff that you can grab and just do it. I mean, granted, camping's not everybody's idea of a good time. And say la vie, right? Different strokes. But for me, my lifestyle, so to speak, my geographical location, it's super accessible, right? It's popular around here for good reason, because we have access to all these things pretty much right out our back door. And, you know, and it's a great way, again, low cost, accessible to spend some quality time with my kiddo. It's not the big vacations. Yeah, those are great. The real, like, let's go to a different continent, life-shaping kind of things. Yeah, those always show up on your highlight reel throughout your life. But plenty of the great experiences I had with my dad. I love the green screen. You like it better when I get it working. A lot of the moments I had with my dad that I remember weren't the fancy stuff. It was simple stuff, like we were out going out fishing, or we were exploring like for an FSR, a Forest Service road, or, you know, just all those things, working on his Jeep. It's all those little things that I remember that were really enriching in my life that I have a chance to share with my kiddo. Speaking of Jeeps or outdoor vehicles, I'm going to tease to you guys that there might be a new character coming to my family. I was going to drop that a little later, but This is in there. I haven't completely firmed up the deal, but look for a big change in content. And if you've been watching my content lately, you will have noticed that there's got a different flavor for sure. So we'll dive into that. Um, it's really just also this is an act of slowing down. It's an act of getting around nature. It's an act of like spending quality time with my family. But the road trips too, it's all pretty cool stuff. And this is my counter to burnout. It's also that beautiful mix of where I'm working, but I'm also having a lot of fun. So one of the main themes, and we'll get into that, is that I've got the Dad Venture Kit. So it's basically the Dad Venture Kit is a bin. It'll be around here, plus a few others, my fishing gear. Um, what are the essentials that you can have that you need to take that you're set up for either a road trip, an overnighter, or like a full-on camping trip? Okay, and none of this is, I mean, you're going to have the basics, the vehicle, the tent, maybe an air mattress if you're feeling all glampy. But really, it's the tools that you have that you take with you that don't cost a ton that really get the job done. So, you know what, we're working on that. There's also, I'm collaborating with a good buddy of mine that's come back into my life. We haven't connected in a while, and we got to connect again. So that's Alec and Life Cowboy. My last drop was had him featured also in the wild with Kyle, and we're going to be working together quite a bit in the future. So look for a lot of collabs. It was a lot of fun. It was a different experience for me for sure, but it was really good experience. I enjoyed his sense of humor, and we played well off each other. And it's a new dynamic. So I'll get more into that. And I've got a bunch of ideas flowing out of that he's totally keen on. So we'll get into that. So, I pretty much laid this down. It's the segue into the vibe shift idea. So everything is really moving to feel more grounded, more seasonal. So yeah, during spring and fall and even winter, there's going to be something that reflects that in a very natural kind of way, right? So, and it's going to be a lot more field driven. So the content isn't going to come out of the studio, so to speak. It gets edited here. It gets put together into a finished product, but the real content, the real magic happens when I'm out getting the content. I do have another channel, and that's very studio experimental and kind of like studio driven. So, but Durable Dads is not that, and it's a real joy to be able to get field driven. Plus, the weather's getting good, so I want to soak up as much of that as possible. So really, I'm going to lean into a real natural fit for me that's real gear. Okay, and I'm not going to be that frothing review guy that's like super energetic and just like, oh my God, check out this $40 million new blah, blah, blah camping kit. So regular, everyday kind of dads and parents don't necessarily have the access to things like this, right? They're cost inhibitive. There's no big sponsorship that comes along with this. So, you know what? That's not the direction I want to go. Sure, it'd be great to have lots of money and sponsorships. I won't say no. But ultimately, that would also be a journey for me as a very small YouTuber, just basically getting my feet under me. That might come, but that would also be part of the journey. And that's the reflective, the Durable Dads part of it. So all the DNA that I've set up from before just creates an ethos that I'm packing with me out into the field, right? So all my legacy stuff still kind of has a home. Instead of going like this, I'm going to try, I'm going to live it out, right? In a very family oriented, very kind of simple and accessible, but still incredibly fun. And then you can make it as complex as you want or as expensive as you want, but in a real back to basics kind of way. Because that's the pleasure, is being able to be like, okay, kid, what are we doing? No, you just want to go here. Okay, let's go. So part of when I do reviews, and the brew and review is now going to become a feature. So I'm trying to work with local coffee roasters too, to kind of support local biz, help give them a little bit of an audience too, but also the brewing of the coffee and the chance to actually talk about the review of the gear that I'm using is going to be something that is going to be a lot more a lot less sales pitch. I don't really want to get all frothy and give you that whole like just technical data crap. I want to, and I'm not trying to sell you anything. The whole premise behind the Dead Venture Kit is that, hey Hondo, I'm glad to have you on. Thanks for joining. Yes, the green screen. So, as that's a good question. I don't know about any teas from Kamloops, but I'm pretty sure there is. Okay, back to it. Where was I? Okay, so I don't want my reviews to sound like a sales pitch for said item. Really, the idea is to get it, explain about it, get it out in the field in a real world situation, use it, see how it's an essential to your everyday pack, a should have, right? And why it goes in there, and to put it to use, right? That's the point of having your Dad Venture Kit. It's just having the essentials in there that you're going to use. I mean, you don't have to have the fancy stuff. You take the fancy stuff with you as accessories, but the kit is the main thing. So what have we done so far? Like power bank, that's one of them. We're gonna have a good knife, right? I set it up with Jeremy when we did the Ultimate Dead Venture Kit, and we just kind of went through what should be in a good, outdoor kind of bushcraft camping, what should ride around in the vehicle, in the whip all the time. So right now we're on the phase of building the essentials. I need to rebuild my kit, so we've got some multi-tool in there. Teaser alert that I'm going to be doing a review on a very cool knife that has been gifted to me by the inestimable Jeremy from Fireworks. It's there's a couple special line items about it. You'll see. It's pretty cool, but a good knife. I got a multi-tool review coming up. A med kit for sure. Now, I'm not going to go and take one for the freaking team and get myself injured to, display or to show you how the medical kit is used. But what should be in a good medical kit? I mean, it's a no-brainer. If you have kids, pack extra bandages, right? Because they love it. It's almost like kiddo tattoos. So, and it's just, how does this function, and is it worth having? And why is it worth having? So really right now, we're going to be working on the essentials of the Dead Venture Kit, and we're going to be testing that throughout a season. Oh, what did we pick up? What was absolutely necessary? What wasn't all that necessary? What am I missing? So that's going to be that story arc. There's going to be some camping trips. There's going to be exploring some local outdoor stuff. Lots of kayaking heading your way too. So I'm going to try and get a GoPro, get you some footage of that. And again, this is all kind of starting from the interior of BC and radiating out, right? So these are places, if you're semi-local or local, you can go to. I'll give you the rundown. That's kind of like the review and brew. That's going to be a big part of things, the gear review. That's a huge angle that I'm chasing down. Also, the coffee. I love coffee. I'm a coffee aficionado. The BioLite is proving to be a super workhorse and making some excellent coffee. So I'm enjoying the process of doing that too. So that's going to be a regular feature. Kristen, how you doing? Some kayaking around Kamloops videos on what kind of GoPro are you getting? Okay, I happen to be blessed enough, Kristen, to know a pawn shop guy, so I'm waiting to get something used come in. I'm looking for either an Osmo Action Cam 3 or a GoPro starting at 8 or 9, 10 in there, whatever is affordable at the time and happens to be available. But it has to be waterproof. And I will definitely be doing kayaking around Kamloops. And in the surrounding area, I have some great spots figured out. And it's been a hot minute since I've been to Myrtle Lake. And if you don't know about Myrtle Lake is in Wells Gray Park, and that's internationally renowned. You could spend a week exploring Wells Gray. We might not have that kind of time, but that's one of the adventures. The Shuswap, maybe kayak to out to Copper Island, stuff like that. Some good camping adventures is on its way. So call that a number 2. We're going to 3-prong it over the summer. I'm going to do my best to make this happen. So there's going to be the gear and review, the essentials of the kit, durable destinations. I think I said something about that last live stream. That is definitely going to be a thing. So that's all centered around a day trip. Okay, so where can we hit in the vehicle? What do we take with us? Where do we want to go and check out? Well, and you know what? I would love to hear in your comments the places that you love to check out or want to check out or even want me to check out, because I'm on that. That's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to that. I'll throw kind of I'm going to call it, I think, review the brew. So I'll stop at an eatery somewhere along the way. We'll grab some lunch, and review that. Give that a yay or a nay. Would you stop here? What's the price point for your kids? Is it a tourist trap? Too much hype? Whatever. Just give you the lowdown of some cool little adventures. And again, that goes back to the DNA. Like, your summer fun adventures don't have to necessarily be epic to be epic, right? There's lots of different options you can do to keep the kids getting those memories and you getting those memories without having to save thousands of dollars to go someplace exotic. Although I don't say no to that. So, okay. I got us a Little Hobo Soup and Sammy's in Kelowna. Okay, that's a good one. I definitely give that. Soup and sandwiches is like right up my alley. Next time I'm heading down that way to check something out in that area, that's definitely someplace I'll go. Paul Lake and Lac Lejeune. Okay, so in the wild, those are 2 places that get absolutely packed. Absolutely packed. That is the back door where everybody and their dog and their floaties kind of go, right? Not necessarily my flavor. I don't want that many people around me and that much noise, motorboats and water skiers when I'm trying to zen out and have a paddle. So that's not necessarily going to be the stuff that you're going to be seeing, because that's not necessarily in the wild. The river in Enderby, that's a good one. That's also a good place to float too. Lots of people do that. That's fun. So, and that area is quite pretty. You can keep going from there to like Maple Lake. So the opportunities of that abound. So there's going to be the reviews, the review and brews, the adventures, and then there's going to be durable destinations. And that should keep me really hopping. That should give me more than enough content. And probably if I do it right, running me off into like damn near Christmas. Okay, so a lot's coming up. I wanted to clue you in on that and maybe get some of your feedback on what you'd like to see before, well, it's already begun, but before things get heavy, right? So, I mean, the whole idea behind this is to, I'm more focused on building something sustainable as a channel, as a lifestyle, rather than chasing the big algorithm spikes. We love to have 1 million followers, but or subscribers, but that's not the idea. I'm trying to keep it more down to earth, and just enjoy the process in terms of content, right? Okay, so there's been Tony. Hey, mate. Good to see you here. Glad to have you in. What's up? Obviously, my green screen is up, but the software I was using kind of calved, and I don't have any fancy imagery for you. So I'm in good old YouTube Studio, and it's doing the job. Sorry about the lack of eye candy. Okay. Do a review of a weed store. It's been many moons since I have partaken in that particular substance. Not because I have anything against it, is because I tend to, okay, it spikes my anxiety pretty bad. And I'm no longer a fun-loving guy. I'm too busy fighting off gorilla panic. So somebody else is going to have to do that review for me. Don't be afraid to drop me a line, though, Cursed Wolf, if that's your job. If you want to jump on that grenade, do it. Do it hard, but it cannot be me. Anywho, back at the ranch. You guys may or may not have got a taste of Life Cowboy. Cool guy, known him for many years. He's now back in the area. He's kind of a freewheeling kind of guy. He was just in Mexico over the winter. He rode down there on his bike. Has some adventures. I'm going to be helping him out with his channel. He's going to be helping out with Durable Dads. We have some cool ideas. He's fun to work with. And my content and his content changes up. So yeah, look for that as collabs that are going to be happening. So fish and chips in Kelowna, in the Mission area. Okay, do you happen to have the name, Cursed Wolf? So, because that would be worth checking out. It's looking like the Okanagan's going to get some of my gasoline money over the summer, and that's cool too. Also, north is okay. Any direction for where I'm at, you can hit some world-class stuff, and there's tons to explore. So thanks for these ones. And fish and chips is always a win. Okay, so that collab with Life Cowboy, the last one I did with the power bank, that was super fun. It went well. It kept my content a little lighter, brought out a little bit more of the sense of humor because, I wasn't just, working, so to speak. So that brought a new cool air in and opened a lot more possibilities for me too. There's a local roaster here in Kamloops that I've made contact with. Nothing's come about quite yet because we're both super busy, but it's a coffee roaster called S&S. So look for me to be checking out that coffee and the whole roster, Local Biz. I love to send some shout outs to Local Biz. So that you might be hearing a lot about S&S coffee over the summer. Very cool. Looking forward to that. And besides, dads and coffee go together like field kits and duct tape. So natural fit. So and these collabs are feeling pretty natural. They're just kind of coming up, just like Jeremy from Fireworks. They're just kind of coming out of the woodwork. They're gelling. These don't feel forced. It's not all that shiny. It's just some aligned, dads and guys that just want to bring you products and expertise from stuff that they enjoy doing. So Shady Rest, fish and chips. I'm going to write that down after the live stream, Curse, because that sounds really good. Matt, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for coming in. So the two guys in your last video was pretty funny. Okay, so one of those guys was me, right? So thanks for that. And the other one was Life Cowboy. Again, I'm working with his channel, and I'm Mr. Producer. So yeah, it's a natural fit. We're going to see more of that. So thanks for finding us funny. We're not necessarily going to completely chase down that lane. We'll try and give you some content with some depth. But yeah, we do happen to have some fun, and we're possibly, if everything rolls out, we're going to be dropping another one Friday, or at least getting the content for one. So thanks for that. So, anyways, this is rolling pretty good. Okay, so I call this part Gear Talk and Recent Wins. Okay, so it all kind of started out with the BioLite. I've been doing a couple of reviews from local businesses and local products already as part of my content. But and now that I'm leaning more into outdoors and more adventure stuff, which is, let's face it, pretty damn fun. I got my hands on the BioLite, and again, I like coffee. And if you don't know what a BioLite is, it's basically a wood-fired chamber that the fire creates electricity. So the heat spins a rotor, and that rotor charges up a power bank, which will charge your device. So, and it's all, again, fire driven. And then it has both a grill and a kettle for making French press coffee on the go. Fire coffee. I was blown away. My first attempt, I sucked at it, had marginal coffee. The next time, with the right equipment, again, there was that was an impetus for creating the adventure kit. Is like, wow, was I super unprepared. My hatchet wasn't sharp, not even brought. I didn't even bring my pocket knife, nothing. So it was a difficult thing. And then as I did my next one, when I was doing the ultimate adventure kit and field kit with Jeremy, I had a mind-blowing cup of coffee, and I'm like, this alone, just because of the coffee, needs to be a part of it. And it's a natural way for me to just sit down, have a cup of coffee, and talk about how that particular piece of gear, works in the field. Works great. So, hi, Christian. It's the best store to buy the gear that's in a lot of your videos. There's lots of them. The BioLite, that's going to be a chunk. If you can pick one up used and that's your bag, I would recommend doing that. But the BioLite with the French press and the grill, be 350, 400 bones. So, and I would recommend either Mountain Equipment Co-op for that one. Cool store. You could spend your life savings in that place. Or catch it online. They're a cool company doing cool things. Where do I pick? I pick up some of my stuff online too. So Amazon is one of the stores that you will see products being featured, right? I picked up my camera backpack, my gear backpack from Amazon. Why? Because our city doesn't necessarily have a lot of the great shopping. But for some of the basic stuff, you can pick up locally. Princess Auto has just about everything, straight up from full on shop compressors right down to tiny gadgets. That's where I picked up my power bank. That was inexpensive, $35, and it's lovely to have a power bank. You could go way higher and buy power stations, but and some of the stuff gets given to me. I pick up a lot of stuff at Big Don's Super Pawn. So pawn shops, again, I always endorse. If you can pick it up for cheap, do it. Money's always precious to come by, and even if you have lots of it, there's no reason to spend full retail if you don't have to. There's no shame in that, and I pick up a lot of gear that way. And it's a great way to, keep yourself in business. Do I have favorite stores? Okay, there's a place in Kamloops called Surplus Herbie's. And I think there's one in Kelowna too. I'm not sure, or Williams Lake. Cool store, really outdoor driven. So if you want to find cool outdoor stuff, and even some apparel, I find some cool shirts in there, fishing gear, you name it. Gurney's Farmhouse, I'd have to check that place out. Thanks, Twisted. So Princess Auto, pawn shops, Amazon, Surplus Herbies, or any kind of store like that is where I pick up most of my gear. A dedicated adventure store in Kamloops and or in the area, there are some, but a lot of that's geared towards higher end. So Atmosphere. Another cool place is Valhalla Pure. Valhalla Pure is a store that I can get behind. They're out of the Kootenays. I went to the original store in where was it? New Denver. So Valhalla Pure, if you guys ever wanted, they do online for sure. So that's supporting kind of local as Valhalla Pure. If that answers your question, Christian. Surplus Herbies, Vernon, Kamloops, Williams Lake. Awesome. So if you're near any of those places, that's a great place. Valhalla Pure, Amazon. Who doesn't? Surplus Herbies, Valhalla Pure, pawn shops if you can, thrift stores, marketplace. And I'll definitely tell everybody if I pick it up in marketplace or I picked it up used or through a pawn. I'll definitely tell you because, you know, when a deal's out there, I really want to encourage you to maybe do a little spade work. So it may pay off dividends for sure. So, all right, where are we going? Okay, so, you know, like, so what did I wrote something down for myself and I don't even know what it is. So we're gonna, you know, kind of move it along. I've got the solar bank, the power kit, again, the evolving Adventure kit. I will do some gratuitous shots of the Adventure kit as it grows. And it's growing pretty fast. So be catching you up. Okay, so at the beginning here, I was going to mention it's a very good chance that there's a new family member coming into town and will be featured often on Durable Dads, and that is, her name is Lou. And she's a bush rig and she's going to be great. So I will do a full reveal and maybe we'll even do a little review of Lou. Just working out the finer details of that in the next week or so, getting the roof baskets on, the whole deal, and get her ready for adventure. So yeah, I kind of wanted to tease that. I'm excited. It would be nice to have an adventure mobile that's pure adventure mobile. Granted, she's street legal. I can drive her to Superstore or Safeway to go get some groceries, no problem. However, you know what? There's some places that you can't necessarily always go, and sometimes the bush rig, the vehicle, or the ride there is just as fun as the adventure. So I know not everybody is going to be able to like go rock crawling, and I'm not a hard rock crawler anyway. So we're not going to be going any places that, you know, really most of you guys couldn't get into anyways. And if I tell you that it's going to be pretty rough, it's probably going to be pretty rough. I'll tell you if I go to a place that is like car not recommended, you know, or whatever, it was totally smooth, drive in. So again, yeah, I wanted to look for Lou. Speaking of that, and if that happens, I know myself, and I will not leave Lou, which is already modified, but yeah, Mara Lake's a super pretty spot, Kirstwolf. So I agree with you on that. That's a checkout. There's also Pillar Lake. If you guys haven't heard about that, tons of great spots. I might throw in the occasional gratuitous fishing video to, you know, everybody and their dogs doing that. So I'm not going to be lean heavily into that, but fishing is good. So, but yeah, again, back to Lou. As it's shaping up, I feel confident enough in how this is rolling out that put it out there on the intertubes. So, but I know I'll probably make some upgrades and Life Cowboy is kind of the upgrade kind of guy too. So we'll keep you posted with how that goes too. So we're having a little bit of a variety gong show going on here, and but it fits, and it all kind of fits together nicely. We're not going to go too crazy and go all over the board, but this is kind of the direction that I'm looking to go. So yeah, and you know what I mean? It's not super expensive. She's a little old, has a few miles on her, but you know what? That's great, and it might be the most inexpensive mental health plan I could have possibly thought of. So, yeah. Anyways, this is kind of the time where I'm going to open up the floor. Feel free to lay down your comments, you guys. Love to hear it. It's been really active tonight. I appreciate it. So I wanted to do a kind of a shout out to you guys, to my audience. It's been almost 2 years since I started this channel out, and it started out on a whole different premise. And I'm really excited that a lot of you have kind of stuck around through thick and thin, through a couple of different pivots and a couple of ideas, and just the evolution of this channel. So make a rack for turrets. It's I would love to. I mean, that would solve a lot of my traffic problems for sure. But I'm gonna leave the roof for the roof basket and kayaks. So there's lots of like, it's a couple of light bars, so maybe I could, blind traffic. That works too. So, and you know what? Whether you guys are here like every week and haven't missed a live cast or seen all of my videos, I salute you. Thanks so much for sticking with me. It's been a real pleasure to kind of do this. There's been some frustrating times as I kind of learned. Again, I still always, still making mistakes, still growing. Again, the green screen blew up on me. That didn't work out, but green screens and keying in is really fun. So I've been enjoying learning that process. So I'll have it right for next live stream for sure. I'll put police lights on it. These are all upgrades that I think the cops would pull me over for. I don't need that kind of heat. I mean, it sounds fun, but no, we can't do it. So I can't get arrested in front of the kid. So again, if this is your first video, or you've seen them all, thanks for tuning in. This is great. Christian, what's the most crazy thing that's happened? Okay. This live stream is going to go a little bit longer because you know what? That just opens a can of worms. My city, which is Kelowna, BC, happens to be blessed, cursed with some crazy, crazy, angry, me first race car drivers. Okay. I have my road rage, and people can confirm this. But you know what? I've kind of grown past the idea of having to be first and get there and shave off a couple of seconds and sit around driving, being pissed off all the time. However, that doesn't seem to be the general consensus. What have I seen? That would be impossible to to quantify. The craziest? I don't know. 2 left turns when they weren't supposed to, one vehicle and then another vehicle and a trailer, as people are ripping through the intersection and having to stop and almost creating a pileup. Yeah, that's a normal example. I see something every day. I will tell you, the craziest part is the commute. Is if you're going right around school time, there's a school on my commute. And parents and the drop-off zone, that alone, qualifies for its own video. I've thought about it, and I think on my other channel, I'm going to probably have something a little bit stinging about like drivers. So, which 2 idiots from today? Because you know what? I count many idiots from today. So, Yeah, that's impossible to answer. I'm sorry. That list is long and continues to grow. So something's always kind of knocking off top spot. I don't know what traffic's like in your town, but it ain't like the old days. It seems that everybody it's a free for all. I kind of grew up on the premise that, you know what, if everybody kind of obeyed the rules, we kind of had a general sense of what other people were doing on the road. Because if you're piloting 3,000 pounds of hurling fucking speed depth, pardon the language, you know what, you ought to pay some attention and not, drive with aggression, so to speak. But anyways, that's my thought on things. I can't even remember. I try because I see so often twisted. I see so many traffic violations that I try to let them pass through. So I'm in an age where jammers could happen, and I'm going to try and keep the cortisol as low as possible. So okay, so just to kind of recap a little bit. Um, I would love for you guys to like comment either now or after the stream on, what gear do you love? Like, and it could be just the stuff you take with you on whatever adventures you like. So, granted, my lane here, and I'm going to stick into it, is more around outdoors and adventures, outdoor adventures, and day trips. Lots of road rage in Kamloops. Um, yes, Kamloops is a scary place to drive. It's a not white knuckle all the time. So yeah, I try to pay attention. I just assume the next driver is going to be completely reckless. I try to stay sedate. I get angry. I yell. There's occasional birds that get flipped, but for the most part, I try to be the same sensible one, and there doesn't seem to be enough of us having that particular worldview. So, okay, we're really kind of pushing my little timeline. I'm cool to stay in chat, but let's get this kind of rolled up. So, what I'm looking for from you guys for comments, feel free to drop whatever you want, but I'm into hearing the gear that you particularly love that you wouldn't go anywhere without. It's an essential in your kit. Um, what do you want to see? Where do you want me to go? Like, I will be checking out those places, the Ma and Pa Grocery, Fish and Chips, sorry, the Little Hobo Soup and Sandwich. I need something cool to check out down in that area that gives me an excuse to stop there for lunch. So, yeah, what do you want to see? Do you want to see more reviews? Do you want to see more adventure shots and little adventure trips, more durable destinations? And if so, which places would you recommend? Loving to hear your feedback because I'm always keen to explore something new and check out something new and see parts of this beautiful province or nation that I haven't had the chance to explore yet. So, and if it's something you can drag along for your kids and they don't hate you too bad for going with you, even better. So yeah, places worth exploring, the gear, and places you want to see us go. Camping shots and wildlife places. Okay, that is definitely on the agenda. Again, with Lou in the pipe, then that expands or gives much more of an excuse to go and hit a little bit more of the out of the way places where you're not necessarily hearing traffic noise. Yeah, you're getting some beautiful shots, but that's not really nature adventure. I'd like to try and get someplace where there's less people and it's less explored, or at least the people that are there are much more interested in the lifestyle. So you're going to get that relaxed vibe. So, anyways, if you guys have any more to throw out at me, now's your time. other than that, this has been a wonderful chance for me to catch up with you guys and get you up to speed with lots of changes happening, logo changes, vibe changes. Um, yeah, this lets you know where I'm going and why I'm going there. So, and this is a real opportunity to kind of get you guys to, or allow you guys to get in sort of on the ground floor in terms of content of helping to shape what you guys want to see. So, and that's really that collaborative kind of down to earth vibe is something I'm trying very hard to curate on this channel because I think it's an important part of life as a parent, as a dad, in a life that seems incredibly complex and very consumer driven, right? So it's a little bit of an antidote for the soul, right? So, and pot shops again. I'm not going to be the one doing the pot shops, but you know what? If you wanted to create a channel and you wanted, you know, a little help with getting that rocking and rolling, you know, I mean, you could be a connoisseur channel. It's legal, so you know what? I'm encouraging you to go out there and start that channel, the dope connoisseur. It's a good one. And if that goes viral, man, I want to kick back. Where did I get my shirt? How much do you want for my shirt? Not for sale. This was part of a cool adventure. So, and if you want to know more about Bootleg Bike Company, it's in Kimberley, BC, and the East Kootenays. Picked this up on my last adventure to the Kootenays. I missed the Kootenays. Shout out to the Kootenays. I'd love to see you soon. West Kootenays, I gotta say, it's got my love a little bit more in the East Kootenays. The East Kootenays is cool too. Speaking of that, my next brewing review is going to be featuring a coffee from the Kootenays. So hang tight and stay tuned because that will be coming up. Anywho, it has been a slice, you guys. I appreciate you tuning in. I promise to have, Nicust was a great spot, Twisted. I promise to have the green screen working properly and not failing. So again, you'll have a treat. I will try and, you know, come up with something a little more inspired than just having my logo back there, because that sounds, you know, a little pretentious. Maybe an action shot or a really pretty spot for my next adventure. I think if you guys haven't heard of Nicust Lake, I'm not Nicust, sorry, Nisconlith Lake. Okay, that's a spot that I'm going to be hitting up as soon as possible. It's above Chase, BC. Great spot, great little lake. I think it's no motors, or at least electric motor only. So you're not going to have all the crazies out there on the big boats or the skidoos or whatever. Has a cool little island that you can paddle out to. Not super windy, great little spot. So thanks for the remind. Definitely going to be hitting that spot. And I'd love to make it down to Nicust. Anyways, you know, this is Durable Dads. I'm Mike. And if nothing else, we're going to brew something better together. Looking forward to catching you in the next video and our next live stream update, which I promise will be sooner than a month this time coming. Anyways, peace out, Scout. Thanks for tuning in.